The Well of Eternity and the World Forges. For the first time in Azeroth's history, a tentative peace settled over the world. The Titan Forged had banished the chaotic elemental lords to another plane of existence. They had also purged the Black Empire and muted the terrible power of the old gods. Against all odds, Azeroth had been saved. But there was much work to be done. The Keeper's most pressing concern was the horrific scar left behind when Aman'Thul had torn Isharj from the world's crust. A constant stream of volatile arcane energy bled from the colossal rift, lashing out across the world. The Keepers knew that, if left unattended, these energies would consume Azeroth over time. The Keepers labored day and night, crafting magic wards around the gaping wound to stanch the escaping lifeblood. Eventually, the tumultuous energies calmed and settled into balance. All that remained of the scar was an immense lake of scintillating energy that the Keepers would call the Well of Eternity. Thereafter, the power of this wondrous fount would be infused in the ailing world, helping life to take root and bloom across the globe. With the wound healed, the Keepers sought to strengthen Azeroth's nascent world soul and stabilize its life force. To do so, Arcadas and Mimiron combined their powers to craft the Forge of Wills and the Forge of Origination. These two extraordinary machines would work in tandem, infusing Azeroth's slumbering spirit with cosmic energies. The Forge of Wills would be embedded in the northern reaches of the world, and it would shape the world soul's budding sentience. The Forge of Organization would be installed in the southern reaches of Azeroth, and it would regulate the rhythms of the deep earth and fortify the world soul's form. After these two machines were constructed, the Keepers went to work. Odin oversaw efforts to install the Forge of Wills within a vast northern mountain range that would become known as the Storm Peaks. The Pantheon appointed Odin the prime designate for his valorous deeds in the war with the old gods. The task of watching over Yogg-Saron's prison and maintaining the Forge of Wills would fall to him. Odin and the other Keepers immediately began building the great fortress of Ulduar to serve as the main bastion of the Titan Forged on Azeroth. The fortress would hold not only Yogg-Saron's prison, but also the Forge of Wills and other machineries of the Keepers' devising. The Forge of Wills also served another purpose. It would draw the life essence of Azeroth itself, giving shape and sentience to creatures of living stone and metal. Not only giants, but other types of Titan Forged as well. This new generation of Titan Forged would help the Keepers bring order to the world. As the Forge of Wills churned out these new Titan Forged, High Keeper Ra led an expedition to install the Forge of Origination in the south. He was accompanied by a number of stone-skinned creatures recently wrought from the Forge of Wills. The Anubisath giants, the leonine Tol'vir, and the indomitable Mogu. En route, Ra discovered the remnants of Ishar's corporal form lay strewn across the southern reaches of the world. When Aman'Thul had ripped the old god from Azeroth, pieces of the entity had fallen back to the surface, infusing the land with evil. The largest intact piece of Ishar's was the old god's icy heart, a mass of diseased flesh seething with void energies. Rather than destroy the heart, Ra built a subterranean vault to contain it and neutralize its evil. He, along with the other Keepers, knew that studying the heart could help them understand the nature of the old gods and other void creatures. Ra charged his Mogu followers with watching over the vault of Isharj. They would guard and care for the surrounding land as well. Ra then continued his expedition and traveled west. There, he and his followers embedded the Forge of Origination in the land. The earth rumbled beneath Ra's feet as the gargantuan machine churned to life. The High Keepers soon sensed that the twin forges were working in synergy, sending healing energies through the heart of the world. Ra and his followers erected a sprawling fortress around the Forge of Origination. This site was called Uldum, and it would become the southernmost base of operations for the Keepers. Much like the Forge of Wills, the Forge of Origination would serve a dual purpose. In the event that Azeroth's flora and fauna succumbed to corruption, the incredible energy stored inside a great machine could be unleashed to eradicate all life on the world, allowing it to start anew. Highkeeper Ra commanded some of the Tol'vir and the Nubisoths to safeguard Uldum forever. He and the rest of his servants marched northwest into a land known as Silithus. This arid and inhospitable region was home to the subterranean prison that housed the old god Cthulhu. Ra and his allies labored to expand on the prison, ultimately constructing the mighty fortress of Ankh-Karash. After the task was done, the High Keeper ordered his remaining Titan Forge to safeguard the stronghold. Ra himself, seeing his work completed, would spend the following ages roaming the southern regions of Azeroth, distantly observing his Titan Forged and ensuring that they upheld their sacred charges. The Ordering of Azeroth. With the twin forges embedded in Azeroth, the Keepers moved to reshape the surface of the world. To this end, they called a new generation of servants wrought from the Forge of Wills. Each of these loyal and mighty Titan Forged would play a different role in ordering and protecting the world. The craggy, kind-hearted Earthen would specialize in crafting mountains and carving out the deep places of the world. The clockwork mechagnomes, designed by Keeper Mimiron, would help build and maintain the Keeper's extraordinary machineries. The stone-skinned Mogu would dig out the myriad rivers and waterways of Azeroth. The task of safeguarding many of the Keeper's holdings would fall to two different groups of constructs, the iron-skinned Vrykul and the chiseled Tol'vir. To shape the environment, the Keepers also conscripted the powerful stone and sea giants that would roam the breadth of Azeroth, lifting towering mountain ranges and dredging out the fathomless seas. As the Titan Forge began shaping Azeroth, Keeper Freya set out to populate the world with organic life. To do so, she crafted the Emerald Dream, a vast and ever-shifting dimension of spirits and nature magic. This ethereal plane acted as a mirror image of Azeroth, helping regulate the evolutionary path of the world's flora and fauna. A confluence of spirits and strange, otherworldly beings populated the dream, frolicking in the surreal paradise that was their home. The mystical dream defied mortal perceptions of reality. Concepts like time and distance held no sway within this realm of intangibles. A day on the physical world will feel like a decade in the dream. Freya then wandered the world, searching for areas where the Well of Eternity's energies had coalesced. These regions created optimal conditions for the development of a new flora and fauna. Freya shaped immense enclaves of nature at these places of power. She molded life of astounding diversity, seeding it around the world. The sites where Freya had done her work were located at the polar extremes of the world. They included regions that would later be known as the Unguru Crater, Sholazar Basin, and the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. The greatest creatures to emerge from these enclaves were colossal animals known as the Wild Gods. Freya adored and cared for these majestic beings as if they were her very own children. She often wandered the physical world with the Wild Gods at her side, vibrant forests and grasslands blooming in their footsteps. Yet, there was one place she and the Wild Gods frequented more than any other, a massive forested peak called Mount Hijau. The Dreaming World. Some believe that Freya wove the Emerald Dream into being from nothing. Others claim that this strange place had always existed in some form, a dream born from Azeroth's slumbering world soul. It is said that Freya tapped into this realm and molded what would become known as the Emerald Dream as a way of commune with the nation Titan. The Wild Gods. Among the greatest wild gods were Melorn, the honorable white stag, Asina, the mother wisp, Agamagan, the razor boar, Aviana, the mistress of birds, Ursok and Ursul, the colossal bear lords, Tortola, the wise, Goldrin, the great wolf, Shifi, the red crane, Nusau, the black ox, Shin, the white tiger, Yulong, the fade serpent. It was on the slopes of Hijal that Freya bound the spirits of her beloved wild gods to the Emerald Dream. Inexorably tied to the ethereal realm, they would come to symbolize the health and vitality of Azeroth itself. Forever after, Hijal would remain a refuge and sacred place to the wild gods. As Freya's creations explored the world, they came across a number of other strange life forms. These creatures had emerged from Azeroth's elemental past of their own free will. When the Keepers had sealed off the elemental plane, some stragglers had escaped banishment. The fury of these spirits had ebbed over time, and they had become creatures of flesh and blood. It was from these former elementals that some of the forms of wildlife, such as proto-dragons, came to be. In time, the Keepers and their servants stabilized Azeroth's main landmass, a continent that teemed with plants and creatures of every kind. Twilight fell as the Titan Forge surveyed the world they had shaped, and they named the primary continent Kalimdor, Land of Eternal Starlight. The Pillars of Creation. The Pantheon bestowed wondrous artifacts on the Keepers to aid them with ordering the world. These relics were known as the Pillars of Creation. Ages after the Keepers had completed their grand work, the artifacts would become lost and scattered across the lands of Azeroth.